Hi, this is Colette Marie Stefan, and you're listening to The Truth is Funny on Transformation Talk Radio. And I do have a guest today, Michael Hyson, the Dolphin Whisperer. And I'm going to wait and let him come on. He right now is, him and I were talking to prepare for the show. And all of a sudden, both of our computers didn't work. So that didn't surprise me because I woke up very early this morning and I looked, it was 3:33 and I was up and Stella was running around the house and I'm like, what is so exciting? And it's the dolphin energy. So that's why I'm so excited to have Michael on the show. He's been on the show before and we're just trying to reach him and see if he can even just come on by phone. Because the energy of the dolphins is just pure joy and laughter. And to be honest, I've had a lot of people having kind of they had a tough long weekend here in Canada, the Thanksgiving long weekend. And I thought maybe if we could get a little bit of joyful dolphin laughter energy on the show, that would be really powerful for a lot of people just to experience that. It's really interesting how years ago, I actually attended a seminar by Richard Bartlett. That was quite some time ago. And he had these different categories that you could fall into at his seminars. He had these big productions. It was a lot of fun. And I fell into the dolphin energy. And it was really funny because a lady at the seminar, we were told to group up and she said, I want to work with you. And then all of a sudden she said, you look like a mermaid to me. And I just started laughing and I got into this dolphin energy and I couldn't stop. I was just like having I can't explain it. It's almost like being held and not allowed to have like a negative thought come in, and just be in this place of like wonderment that they are. And they're such intelligent creatures. And so Stella decided she's going to come on the show. She says, maybe I could put a fin on, dress up for Halloween, pretend I'm a dolphin for the dolphin show. I'm just going to check with my producer here and just see if we've managed to reach Michael yet. Yeah, just a couple more minutes. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is talk about why I felt that there was a need to have some fun and some dolphin energy. Because, I've been normally I'm a lot more social than I have been. And a lot of us also, I mean, with this, we're not being social, but I miss that interaction with other people, like just laughing and kind of being goofy and not taking life so seriously and allowing to just enjoy the day sort of energy. And so that's kind of why I felt the dolphins would be perfect now. Is a lot of, I know a lot of people had a wonderful Thanksgiving and I'm very, very happy. And I quite often, to be honest, I have quite a few people call me or they'll come on my Get Your Shift Together show. And they will be like, I'm having the relatives over and I want the meal to be perfect and I don't want there to be arguing and that. Like I've had entire teleconferences and I might start doing that again for like the holidays, just because energetically you can, if you're the person that is like holding an event, you can set precedent or set the tone for that event. And you can just sort of make it that when people come to your home, they know that this behavior is allowed and this one isn't. So it's just kind of like everybody is in a place of respect. And, that doesn't always happen. And it's like, I don't know if I've ever been at a family function where that was the case, but we've come close many times and people's intentions are good. I was dealing with a lot of people who are going through, really challenging things. And that's why quite often, if I'm not myself, my daughter was working and my other daughter is in the States. So I'll leave my schedule open at these times if I'm not personally involved with celebrating or going out or whatever, just because I know how hard it was on some of you not to be able to be with family. I have several older people also who they're just tired of being locked up. Like, bottom line is they they're depressed. And so, it was a challenging week for me actually to be in a place of like lifting people up through this, because when some really tragic things were happening. And I have someone here, and I want you to know, if you're listening now, and I should have mentioned, you can call in 1-800-930-2819. I have someone who has her husband just passed and her mother passed 3 months ago. And so she's, you can imagine it, this has not been a happy holiday for her and her children. And that's the kind of energy that I want people to be able on this show to be able to maybe call in and maybe feel a little bit uplifted. And at the same time, I feel like it's really important that we also are very aware of what's going on around us, and we don't hide from it like ostriches and stick our heads in the sand. And so, but every once in a while, we just need a dose of laughter and joyfulness. And and here's and apparently we do have Michael on the show. He can get on by audio. Michael, are you there? Okay, there we go. We were a little bit there we go. So yeah, like the energy is right now is very like, for myself, I feel like a lot of peace and a lot of like just oh, okay, I'm just gonna stay calm, just stay calm and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy connecting in this way. I think we do have Michael here.
I think
Michael,
I'm here.
Yay! All the way from
Okay.
Aloha. Aloha.
Right.
Thank
Aloha.
you so much. I know that this is we got you on the show. I'm so happy. I'm glad like that we can hear from you. Michael,
Yeah.
I didn't even I just was sort of filling in space until we could get you on, but I was talking about how I want to use this show today to lift people's spirits with the dolphin energy. And I
All right.
I refer to Michael as the dolphin whisperer, but that's not, you need to tell. I gave him that handle. That's not what he called himself. But you call yourself the doctor. So you tell us how, who you are, what you do, and how you know so much about dolphins.
Oh, okay. Well, just very briefly, I became a neurobiologist after reading a lot of biology books growing up and with lots of pets. And I ended up with a couple pet bats. So I was looking around for sonar books on animal sonar and found a book by John Lilly called Man and Dolphin. By the first part of the book, he's talking about the quality and size of the brain and how that makes their cognition at least equal to human and so on. By the end of the book, he's teaching them English.
I love it.
So I was so intrigued by this. My brother was a few years older and was looking for a job for the summer. and he got offered a dolphin training job, and he was about to turn it down, but I convinced him to go. So I ended up living with the dolphins in Texas for a summer to help him out. So
Wow.
when I
What
was,
was that like? What was that like? Because
oh,
Michael,
it was
there's like like
like,
I just tell us like from your heart.
oh, it was close to heaven. I've been trying to get it back all the rest of my life.
That's what everybody, like, not everybody, but I would say about 90% of the people that have had any dolphin experiences are like,
Right.
they describe it as heavenly. Why? Like, tell me.
Um, geez. Well, I first saw them in Brookfield Zoo. I mean, having read Lily's book, I got interested in all kinds of dolphin books. I was reading all kinds of things. But I eventually got to see them at Brookfield Zoo, and they were in a big plexiglass tank, and just the flips and dives and rolls and everything, all the tricks they would do, it's just fascinating. And then when I walked up to the plexiglass, they put their nose right in the plexiglass and kind of said hi, which is really something. It's hard to explain. It's like, somebody's inside.
Yeah.
Somebody is really still there.
Mhm.
And it just leaks through. It just broadcasts somehow.
Wow.
And
the love,
for those
like,
of us that are
like like I find like the energy, the dolphin energy, it's so expansive. It's kind of like this, like it just goes out. Like, so
right.
you I mean, tell us about your background and why your knowledge, what you have learned from the dolphins and what you have been like studying, and why you find them so fascinating.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it was fascinating to find somebody that had a brain comparable to ours, and possibly that sharp. When I first got into the matter, I thought, well, maybe they'd be about as smart as chimpanzees or something. Mm-hmm. And they exceed any chimpanzee I know about. Of course, I've never been that close to a chimpanzee, so who knows? But
well, I don't know. I think that I've met some chimpanzees, only one or two, but I found that some of them were smarter than the humans. I mean, look at that gorilla that, she's passed now, but she was pretty smart.
Oh, right, Coco.
Yeah. Coco,
oh, yes,
yeah.
I didn't mean to disparage anything. Once you realize they're all conscious, it goes on from there. But I was just especially attracted to the dolphins somehow. And when we were in Texas, I got in the water the first time with a guy named Pete. They called him Polaris Pete. He was about 600 pounds. It was a little intimidating to go into a pond with him, but he was very gentle. And we just started, hanging around, and he would tow me around, and we'd touch a lot and things like that. He was very friendly. And but then, as an example, you go up to do the trick we called the jump, and you go up on this ladder, and you're about 20 feet out of the water or above the water, and you watch Pete doing these tight circles below you, and all of a sudden he somehow converts all that swirl motion into up motion, and now you've got 600 pounds of dolphins coming for your head, and your only job is to make sure you stay in the same place. With we put a herring fish in our mouths, sort of dangling a herring from my teeth, and he would come up within his top dead center of the leap would be like 2 inches out from my nose. He would just reach over, gently grab the fish, somehow turn head down and fall into the water with hardly a splash. It was amazing. Wow.
So
they're
not just really intelligent, but they're just so exciting. Yeah. Sorry, there's a lapse in time here. What I was going to say, it's not just their.
That's what's on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're just so physically intelligent also.
Yes. And everything they do, it strikes me as very conscious and very, very controlled, extremely precise.
And so, that's how you get started. And then, how did that expand into what you do? I just want to know, because people start calling in sometimes, and then we don't get to find this part out, because I know you've worked with dolphins extensively. And what is your most fascinating thing you can tell us, and then we'll go from there and work our way down.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the most fascinating was when one of the dolphins healed my neck when I was about 38.
Tell us about that.
I guess. Okay, well,
I'm just going to let my producer know we're going to skip the first break here, and just let me know when the next one comes up, because I want Michael to tell this story here, and we got you on late. So go ahead, Michael.
Well, this was after many dolphin adventures. I swam with the original flipper, for example. Her name was Misty, and so on. So I could get back to some of that if you don't holding the timeline back, but pushing it ahead to when I was 38, I was asked to go to Dolphins Plus in Key Largo, and as part of a plan to get to Brazil to work with the freshwater dolphins. That never materialized, but the trip to Florida did. So I went from California to Florida and to Dolphins Plus. And about 2 days before we got to Dolphins Plus, I had a lucid dream about swimming in the dark water with a dolphin, and then went to Dolphins Plus like 2 days later. And let's see now. I got into the place, and the 4 dolphins they put me in with were kind of standoffish. They weren't very friendly, but another group was having a great time. So I went over and wiggled my fingers in the water just to say, hello, somebody else is here. That's all. I'm over here. Do you want to do anything? And this dolphin came out of nowhere and did like a figure 8 across the pond, and then rubbed her body on my hand. And this was really exciting to me because I'd never been that close to a dolphin without something like, I don't know, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months of hanging out, right?
Yeah.
And this strange dolphin just came up to me and did that. And then she came around, did it some more, and the trainers look at me like, that's a little strange. So I pull my hands away, and she comes up and looks at me with her eye. And then a lot of things happen with the dolphins when you look in their eyes somehow.
That's what yeah. And whales too, hey?
Yeah. Oh, belugas for sure.
Yeah.
Belugas
What
can
happens?
do
What
all
do
that.
you think happens? You know, because
well, we can on a scientific level, we have actually confirmed that the dolphin does echolocation in the air.
Wow.
So it's, and this is skipping stories, but I got to meet some belugas, and it was, while I didn't have the microphones and stuff to prove it, and it's just circumstantial, but it felt like as soon as I got in range of the belugas that they sent something at my chest, and my chest felt like it expanded by 25% or something like that. Very
like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas in that cartoon. The frame breaks.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, like the heart just grows. But it's so interesting because on a psychosomatic level, I've been studying all this face yoga, so, and on a psychosomatic level, like we have the chakras in our face, and the eyes are actually our heart chakra. And I think they're just, so yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what happened?
You're asking for the most amazing story. So basically, I looked in her eye at one point, and take this for what it's worth, but this is what I got. I'm a fully trained neurobiologist. I can be as skeptical and materialistic as you want. But in this case, I was looking into her eye, and the impression came through very powerfully that this was the dolphin I'd seen in the dream.
Yeah.
So that was interesting enough. So long story short, I decided later that night to go swimming with her, and we ended up swimming all night together and having a great time. And
she just accepted you like that.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I could go to more, but what I'm jumping to is that I got to see her the next year, and when we were underwater together, she put 20 to 40 sonar pulses into my head and neck. And turns out I'd had a swimming pool accident when I was 13, where I compressed 6 and 7 cervical vertebrae, and so they were fused. And sometimes my neck would lock up but she had done something with these 20, 30 sonar pulses, because when I was driving back to Key West where we were staying, I felt my back get hot in the 5 new places. And then I heard and felt 3 vertebrae go click, click, click into new positions.
Yeah.
And then I went, wow, what's going on? So I wiggled my head, and this grindy sound that had been with me since I was 13, if I paid attention, was gone.
Wow.
Somebody just oiled.
Yeah, they're like,
And then,
they have, why do you think, like, is there a scientific reason that they have found why they are able to heal like this?
well, in this particular case, I could feel each pulse hit my head and neck, and by analogy, it felt like a hot blue spark about, I don't know, a centimeter around. It was very
Okay.
tightly focused, very loud, and apparently positioned very precisely, as far as I can tell. So I don't know, but I think she might have like polished a bone spur or something of that nature.
Isn't that just so fascinating? And like, have you had the experience of birthing, dolphins birthing with mothers?
We strove for that, but the closest we got was my colleague and partner Star Newland gave birth to her second son on a place out here called Kahana Beach, and she had wanted to do this, of course. I can understand for most of the population out there, what do dolphins and birth have to do with? But let me just finish up this paragraph, and then we'll get to that.
Yeah, I
So
know.
here, so I had the experience of having my neck fixed by a dolphin, and just to make it more interesting.
And as a scientist,
yeah, and I believe I saw her in a dream first, and then it turned out her name was Dreamer.
What was her name?
Her name was Dreamer.
Oh, interesting. Hey, you know, we have to take a short break, Michael, but when we come back, we'll talk.
Okay.
I want you to tell us about this, because this is what's kind of funny for me. I'm serious. I woke up at this morning, and I was having a dream about dolphins, and I thought, okay, and I looked at my clock, and it was 3:33, which for me is like a ascended master's number, and I'm like, whoa. And then I got up, and I just felt my whole house just feels like so, like, I think that's why we were having the technical difficulties. The whole house just kind of, it's almost like the vibration in it just changed, because my cat was running around like crazy also. And I was dreaming about a dolphin when I woke up. So we have to take a short break here, but we'll be right back after this short break. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Oh, so I was just explaining that the dolphin.
Oh, I'm just going to introduce us again, Michael. I just didn't realize we were back on. So this is Colette Marie Stefan, and we're live on Facebook, but Michael Hyson is on the show. Unfortunately, we were having technical difficulties, and he is just on audio now. And so that's, we're talking to him in this way. So Michael, go ahead. You were talking before this about Dreamer, the dolphin, and tell us about that.
Okay. Let's see. As I was saying, I met her one year and swam with her the next year, and on the second time I got to swim with her, she put 20 or 30 sonar pulses into my head and neck, and partially fixed a neck injury that I had when I was 13 with her sonar. And let's see. So it turns out her name was Dreamer, and she seems to have been the one I met in the lucid dream.
Well, that's what's so. Is that really common for people to have dreams about dolphins and then feel like they're lucid like that?
I think so. I met a number of people that met the dolphins within dreams.
Yeah, me too.
That opens up can of worms.
Yeah,
as you know. But just to point out, my life on my timeline, I'll just say that I met a dolphin in a dream, which I think I met in the physical dolphin at Dolphins Plus, who happened to be called Dreamer, and then swam with her pretty much like the dream happened. So it's a little bit like
Wow.
dreams can come true for
I
me
love
in my
that.
timeline.
I like
So,
that. So, and this is coming from someone.
what you-
Okay, so I just, in case someone's hopped on the show, um,
yes,
um, I'm not taking calls right now because we got Michael on the calls, and then that makes things even like it makes it more challenging technically. But if you have anything that you want, my producer, she can let me know here if you have any questions for Michael, and just type them in or send them in to us, and we'll do our best to answer. But like, this is so fascinating because Michael, you're a scientist at heart,
yeah,
and
yes.
you're talking like kind of like uh, I don't know, like someone who's all like oh, airy fairy or whatever. Oh, the doll.
Well, I
'Cause
understand it may come across like that. Of course, I'm a PhD trained neurobiologist. At the moment, I'm a research associate for the Center for Brain and Cognition at UCSD. I've had a number of gigs like that at Caltech and JPL, and worked with
yeah,
dolphins and robots and rockets and so on.
that's what I wanted to point out to everybody, because with all the with getting you on later, I didn't really introduce you properly. So I want people to understand that
Right.
Michael is a highly trained scientist, and he's talking in this way. And this is so interesting because I've talked to several marine biologists actually, that when they speak about dolphins, like when they speak about everything else, they speak scientifically, but when it comes to dolphins or whales, they get all gooey and melty, and then they talk like this. I think it's absolutely
I know.
wonderful.
I know. We call it mystical goo.
And
But I
so,
understand it.
yeah, because it's,
It's different from the point of view of being skeptical scientist. Much of the stuff is hard to accept, and it was for me at the time. I'm just deciding that who knows what's going on. I still know what's going on or how it works or whatever. All I know is a number of people report similar experiences, and I
yeah,
think it's
like,
worth studying. All I'm
yeah,
saying is
and
it's worth studying.
it's also so beautiful at this
Yeah,
time, I feel,
right.
because a lot of people, like, like, how did you say it? Like, because now you said that, like, when you're with the dolphins, like, you said you look into their eyes, and do
Yeah,
you,
and you just get transfixed somehow.
like, you kind of almost
What?
feel like you're being like pulled into their energy?
Not exactly. It's just more that there's a connection there of some sort. That
Hmm.
whoever you're looking at is definitely aware and conscious. Um,
And I find that they have such kind eyes,
yes,
like, just kind. Like, and that you just, there's just something about them. And so I felt like, because I do energy work, and I like to, I was talking earlier before you came on, you could get on the show, about how I had the experience of, if people have had enough dolphin energy around them, and they're as gifted as you are in that, and I have them on my radio show, what I am doing is I am strengthening your dolphin vibration to go
right,
out to all the people that have, I've been hearing from a lot of people this week, and I have people that are really feeling disheartened. And I thought, what would be the best way to lift people's spirits? And you don't even, like, even just the way dolphins communicate, and it's all like they're always laughing. And so
right.
tell it, yeah, just tell us some
They
more
definitely
about
seem to be playing. They seem to be playing all the time. But just
them.
to point out, I got a paper called Dolphins Therapy and Autism, in which I speculate on how their healings and things like that may work. And
Mhm.
it turns out that a dolphin can put out electromagnetic energy from the melon, at least, They can also put out amazing acoustic energies from their sonar, and they're in the frequency range that we know these sounds could cause upregulation and downregulation of genes. A particular activation of genes in the right sequence would actually help heal bone. That's known in science.
Wow.
So it's possible that the dolphins are doing something like that, but nobody's done the detailed study required to confirm that or deny it.
Mhm. Because
the amount of dolphin, the amount of power a dolphin has is immense. Just very quickly, a friend of mine was playing with a dolphin and a 2x4, happened to put the 2x4 in front of the dolphin's head, and the next thing you know, the water turned into foam. The 2x4 kicked out of the water and hurt his arm as it was going up. And then he looked at the 2x4; it was cracked in half, and the dolphin never even moved. So
wow.
when you see
Wow.
them playing so gentle with human
Yeah.
beings and with babies especially, they're immensely gentle. And these are creatures that, in principle, could run into you at 18 knots or
Wow.
bite
Yeah. And
or do something sonar.
they
And so
choose
it just
they choose to be gentle. Like they
yeah,
choose
they
that.
choose to be gentle.
Yeah. That's
The thing is, when you're in the water with the dolphin, my motto is, when you're in the water with the dolphin, you're the one that can hardly swim, hardly dive, hardly hear, has a smaller brain, and a shorter evolutionary history.
mhm.
The next motto is only two things that happen with a human and a dolphin in the water: what the dolphin wants to happen and what it lets happen.
Oh, that's interesting also. Tell us about that. So they're in control.
Absolutely. They know so precisely everything that's going on, and they're so fast on some level that maybe some of the effects that we think are some sort of mind connection might just be that the dolphin is so fast that it looks like that. I mean, they're just amazing
Wow.
guys.
That's just interesting. And so, this, like, I grew up on Flipper.
Me too.
And you swam with
Yeah.
Flipper?
Yeah. She
And
lived at Santini's Sea
uh-huh.
for about 14, and just to put she would jump her fence 2 or 3 times a year, go away for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then come home. Did that for 14 years. She was a member of the family at Santini's, which I would recommend for everybody. I think we should all have a porpoise.
Yeah. And let them come and go as they please.
Anyway,
Yes.
quick Flipper story. Her real name was Missy. I swam with her once, and the guy that let me in to do it said she would be very different with a child. She'd play with a child for a long time, but she says, "You're an adult." She doesn't really like adults. So I'll tell you what, you get out there about 50 feet and stay in the water still. It says, don't flinch, because she's going to come at you at 20 miles an hour and stop a foot away. If you flinch, she'll do it again, come at you at 30 miles an hour and stop 6 inches away. So I hung there in the water, and she comes at me, these rooster tails flying off all her fins, and she stopped, and this bow wave from her went over my head, about a half a foot of water. And
Whoa.
then he said, she'll come up and taste your arm. Don't move your arm. I was wondering about that. She comes up with her jaws way open, puts them around my lower arm on the left, and then starts clamping down a little bit at a time. Clamp, clamp, clamp. At first meant nothing, right? But she kept doing it a little tighter and a little tighter. Pretty soon it did hurt a little bit. Then it hurt more, and then it hurt a lot. And I'm going, oh my God, if this continues, I'm going to have to rip my arm out of there. And I know that the only thing that'll hurt is ripping it out. I will have caused injury to my own arm.
Yeah.
So I just left it. And the teeth were denting my arm, but nothing broke the skin. And right at the exact split second where something in me was going, oh my God, I got to get my arm out of there, even if it does get ripped. I got to move it. And that's exactly the point at which she opened her jaws and let me stroke her a couple times, and then gave me a fin ride back to the dock. That's it.
Wow.
So
now that's
what we call it. Dolphin. We call that a dolphin trust game.
Wow.
Like
But like
Like women
that,
came over.
she was letting you know who the Empress was.
Oh, oh yeah.
Like, and so when you say nothing happens in the water when you're around dolphins unless they guide it, that's what you mean.
Yeah, they either initiate it and do it, or they let it happen.
Okay,
they're
that's
they're
fun.
totally controlling the.
Yeah, wow. Like this is so fascinating. So, I mean, how many years have you been? Well, because like you said, like you were really, young and when you went to
Well,
Texas.
I guess roughly 50 years off and on. There's some chunks in my life where I didn't get to swim with them very often.
Wow. And you're
But
do you mind sharing, you're in Hawaii now?
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
here in Hawaii about 30 years now,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
gotten
I
to swim
thought
with
you
the three
still are.
dolphins quite a lot.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so you get to see them wild, right?
yeah, we call it free actually.
Yeah, wild free, like, yeah, like, so
Yeah, well,
I know it, yeah. So when you see them free,
yeah.
how is that?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, there were times they could
Tell us
at
about that.
Kahana Beach. Okay, well, there was a Black Beach Kahana. There is a Black Beach Kahana a couple miles
Hmm.
from here. And one day in particular, about 600 dolphins showed up. So I
Yeah.
got out there and said, what I usually have these preconceived notions about what they should be doing. So this time I just had this affirmation that I am open to whatever you want to teach me. So at one point I was coming up from a dive, the female dolphin was going down right past me. And I
Hmm.
realized later it was intended that I turn around and follow her. But she came up around me to my shoulder and looked at me and sat there on the surface. And then she opened her blowhole and took a breath, like, and then deliberately closed the blowhole. Ordinarily they do that in a tenth of a second, like. But this
Yeah.
time she left her blowhole open and went, kind of like a human might do. And okay, I'm supposed to breathe. Okay, breathe. And hold my breath. And then she went down about 10 feet and she let me get in synchrony right next to her. Then we surfaced together and breathed together. And then she took off. And I got the distinct impression this is your first lesson. First of all, you have to learn how to swim.
I can see why women are guided that way to be around that kind of energy when they're giving birth, because it's really
Oh,
good
yes.
to be
Well,
reminded to breathe.
I certainly appreciate the controversy around the whole matter, especially if you've yet to meet a dolphin.
Hmm.
I've seen them be so gentle with babies, and
Hmm.
picked up one 7-year-old that had gotten a little water in her mouth. And the dolphin came right over and lifted her up to her father's arms to get her out of the water right then. The dolphin just did that spontaneously. Nobody taught him to do that.
I
So
feel
in my
that when it comes to that sort of thing, that would be something that would be very personal, and it would not be for everyone. And it would not be meant for everyone either. Like
right,
that's something,
right,
yeah, like, because to me, the energy, just when you tell your stories, like, I don't know about everybody else out there, but I feel like so happy. Like I just do, because you tell us these stories and there's these beautiful beings that are in the water, and really they don't have to have
right,
anything to do with us. And
yes,
and yet they choose to be so kind and loving,
right,
and also to be so um like in authority, and to show us, hey, this is how you do it.
yes, very
Easy.
much, very much.
Yeah.
Let's see, just to give you a vignette here. Star gave birth to her second son on Kahana Beach,
Hmm.
and she intended to deliver into the water with the dolphins. And there were about 300 off the coast waiting. And then her child came out 1 foot first. So we had to deliver her up on the dry land. Long story, but we happen to know a friend named Narabra that was out there with the dolphins. He saw a dolphin born about the same time, 15 minutes or so before Star gave birth. And he saw that and came back all jazzed. He said he looked at that, decided to come in, and said, "This is the best day of my life. What could possibly top this?" And he looked up and said, "Oh, Star's having her baby. I'll help." So Just the start of it. And
It's just,
I could go on with detail, but I do believe they were there for her.
oh,
And I know
yeah, yeah.
it's
I
difficult
have,
to understand how that might happen.
like, so many times animals um are so beneficial for people in this way anyway. And I
Right.
find when animals communicate with me, they do it with pictures. So it would kind of make sense that if you were
Yeah.
having a dolphin communicate with you, that they would do it visually like that in a dream, because it's almost challenging to get to that vibration, isn't it, until you're with them.
I think so. Yeah. But
Yeah.
a number of people have had significant dreams around dolphins. I think
Hmm.
again, all these things need to be scientifically fleshed out. Many people have many anecdotes, and they're all hearsay. Although we joke about the matter, one of our guys, Jack Caswit, says, "Well, the plural of anecdote is data."
I agree. There has to be data. Having said that,
Yeah.
I have a friend right here in Kelowna, British Columbia, which is not the most wonderful place for a marine biologist at this time.
Uh-huh.
But she talks like you. Like, she's a very very scientific, very organized, tunk, 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 very logical person. But when she talks about dolphins, she just goes silly. And,
I know.
and yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to let everybody know in the audience is I just wanted, really, I'm so glad that we were able to get on. I'm in a, and it's cool that you were able to share some of these stories that are maybe will lift people up a little bit when you think about that. Like, wow, here we are on this huge planet, and then
Yeah.
God put these fish in the they're not really fish, are they?
I know. They're full
But
mammals. Yeah.
you know how people, and then you think, wow, that these beings, they could go do any, like you said, they're 600 pounds. They don't have to be gentle. They don't have to. And really, if they are aware on a really high level like that, then they must also be aware that a lot of their some dolphins are really mistreated, you know?
Of course.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're saying that they're able to communicate, and what do they say? What level are they communicating at? Like, scientifically, what
Oh, well, if there are, for example, non-local psychic channels, for want of a better name for the moment, who knows? What we know on an objective level is things like Markov and Ostrokaya, about 1984, looked at 300,000 vocalizations of the dolphins, found out that they broke into repeatable symbols, repeatable pieces of sound, like 3 clicks and a whistle or 3 whistles and a click. They can make 4 sounds all at once, all different. So each
yeah, it's
dolphin is
just,
kind of like a quartet. So they decided that they looked at the statistics, and they found out that long messages were more rare than short messages. Like A, M, D, that sort of thing is much
uh-huh.
more common than establishmentarianism, right? So
Okay.
that particular relationship is 1 over F. That is, the frequency of a thing is inversely related to its length. And they did that analysis on the dolphin vocalizations, and they found out that it followed the 1 over F law. And that was created by a guy named Ziff, Z-I-F-F, and it's called Ziff's law. And it
Hmm.
turns out every communication system they've ever analyzed has this 1 over F characteristic, and so does the dolphin language. So they concluded
Wow.
that the dolphins definitely have a language made up of clicks and whistles that can all be intermixed. They could make upwards of 1 trillion symbols if they wanted to, with all those parameters.
Wow.
And,
Isn't
and
that
as you know,
isn't that just wild when like you think about it, and
yeah.
wow.
So, but the point is that it's scientifically established that they have a language. We just don't know what it means in
Hmm.
any real way. So I dream of a machine of some sort, however we do it, where there's some sort of machine interface that allows the dolphins to teach the humans what they think we ought to know.
You know what?
So,
If I win the lottery, I'm going to give you some money to make that machine because I want to know.
okay.
That's what I wanted to call this show. The Dolphin Whisperer tells us what the dolphins want us to know because they're so intelligent. I just want to check
Well,
with my producer here. How much time do we have
I guess
left?
the single most important thing that to take away from this is it turns out Busby and others at Texas A&M a few years ago looked at the dolphin genome, the genetic code for the dolphin, and compared it to human by this chemical complexing idea that you have 2 pieces of DNA, one dolphin, one human. You put fluorescent dye on one of them so you can tell which part stuck to what. And the more these things stick together, the more identical they are. So they measured that kind of percentage. They got like 98% match between human and dolphin. So they concluded, much to everyone's surprise, that the dolphin is the closest genetic match in the entire animal kingdom to the human being, better than the apes.
Wow. Now, I think I have to have you on another show to talk about the implications of that. Because we've run out of time.
Very quickly.
Well, honestly, Michael, we only have, we have like about a minute left. So.
Okay. Send everybody to Hyson-corner.com.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to do. Thank you.
Corner.com.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do.
Say that again. Can you can you just we'll share it at we'll share it later, I think, because we have your information. So if you want any more,
HYSONS corner.com.
Okay, good. All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much. It's so fascinating as usual to talk to you. I think it's been about 4 years since you were on the show last time. Thank you so much for your time and your energy. And thank you for sticking with it, and so you could get on the show even though we were having those problems earlier. Thank you so much.
It's fine. I had a great time.
Thank you
very much.
And so I want to thank you for those of you listening in and that are going to be listening now and later. I feel really, really happy and uplifted, and I just wanted to do something fun for this show, and I hope that's been working for you. And also, I want to thank Dr. Pat and your team and my producer for getting us on the air, because I couldn't even get my computer to run about a minute before. So thank you so much. We'll be back later next Wednesday, 8:00 a.m. Pacific time with Karen. Bye for now, everyone.
You've been listening to The Truth is Funny with Colette Stefan. Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Stefan each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network as she provides energetic shifts and consistent results in every area of life, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. The Truth is Funny. Visit thetruthisfunny.com for more information. That's thetruthisfunny.com.